So welcome to Dodo Modern Poets. I won't spend too much time talking about what's happening later in the afternoon because we've got, as you can see, quite a full house, so we'll crack on. Just if you haven't been to this room before, just to let you know, there is a loo on this actual floor. And I think that's all I need to tell you immediately. We've got a great show this afternoon, but I'll talk more about the featured poets as we come towards them later on. So we're going to start with just telling you about how we fund being in this place. The landlord's a really good guy. He's an independent pub. It's not in the hands of, you know, the man. You know, the man. So all he asks us to do is rattle a bucket for Macmillan's nurses each time we come here. So if you've got some loose change, if you could put it in there, you're very welcome. And I think the pub in the last year has raised something like £21,000 just from this simple facility. So that's it. Okay, we've got quite a few open mic poets. I'm the first one. I'm Patric, and let's get my water. This is a poem called Refugee from my current collection, which I'm dedicating this afternoon to the people who lost their lives in that refrigerated lorry last week. So this is Refugee. Refugee is living in fear every second of every day. Refugee is seeing your children killed, terrified for the ones that live. Refugee is realizing escape is a place with no name. Refugee is fleeing with just your suitcase and your loved ones. Refugee is losing all you own, your home, its memories. Refugee is giving your money to a gangster, letting that gangster risk your life in a leaky boat. Refugee is the jubilation of survival as you scrabble onto dry land. Refugee is the kindness of islanders offering shelter and warmth. Refugee is continuing your journey on a pitiless road. Refugee is bullet-faced men guarding razor wire fences. Refugee is watching a continent pull up its drawbridge. Refugee is freezing camps in winter, all dignity stripped away. Refugee is wicked politicians peddling a currency of hate. Refugee is the miracle of completing this obstacle course. Refugee is being lifted by strong hands, words soothing as balm. Welcome friend, welcome home, come share our land. Thank you. Now, later on we're going to hear the poems of Frances White's posthumous collection, and you'll hear more about Frances. She was a regular Dodo reader over many years and a good friend. And if you look at that picture on the wall there, you probably can't see it from the back, but that shows Bob Dylan playing in this very room in 1962 when this was a folk club. And he came in, he was on his first visit from America, and he did an open mic spot. You know, it's okay then, we're useless, but go on. And we think he sang Blowing in the Wind and two other songs. So one of the things that I have in common with Frances is we're both big Bob Dylan fans. And in fact, I used to occasionally bump into Frances and Steve, her husband, at slightly more salubrious places than the King and Queen, such as the Albert Hall, when we were both at a Bob Dylan concert. But this one is, Bob Dylan regularly played, or at least a couple of times, at the Flower in Finsbury Park, the Flower being, those of you who've been to it, an Irish-themed sort of festival. And so this is one of the poems I wrote about attending the Flower. Our sodden army raises ragged cheers. How does it feel echoing down the years? We holler that revolutionary anthem, fists aloft in honour of our champion. A girl is hoisted on her boyfriend's shoulders, all the better to yell defiance into the leaden night. Lashed by rain for hours, now this field is ours. Dylan's thousands, young and old, sorry soaked, yet still unsold. In years to come, when nodding by the fire, you'll say, do you remember when? And I will sagely sigh, We'll raise a glass to honour Fensbury's field of dreams, where soggy hope refused to die. Okay, first of our open mic poets then. Please welcome Lee Yan.
Thank you. I'm going to read a poem called Love Apples. It's similar to Patric. This is also dedicated to the migrants who died recently. This poem is written about a similar event that took place in 2000 when 60 Chinese migrants who came in a lorry. So it's called Love Apples. Sitting in a love apple lorry, we are going to catch the Dover ferry, heading for a life without misery. The English sky splashes blue. The English sea waves more blue. The English summer of strawberries and cream. The English cows move free. The English grass green's green. The English garden grows in the postcard. The English sun sets in rose. The English moon waxes in clouds. What we see are only eyes sparkling in the dark. Our lorries loaded with love apples, driving with juicy dreams. Flowers bloom or love apples fall. When will we arrive in Dover? The air is getting thinner. The juice of love apples getting thicker. Flowers bloom, love apples fall. When will we arrive in Dover? Here at last, our lorry arrives in Dover, loading 60 love apples, lying between reddened sky and reddened sea. We have dreamed a sweet and sour dream. Thank you.
And next, please welcome Robert Drury.
Hi. It's actually, which one should I read? Can I read you my favourite poem? You may or may not have heard it before, I don't know. But perhaps one of my most favourite bits. Spark of Life. Did you know you were predestined and wholly owned by the God of love who blew in you the breath of love? As when he formed Adam from dust and breathed in life, so it is when your dear folks huffed and puffed together in strife, and with that final shove of love, behold, God came as the white dove of love. That electric spark of life, man manufactured the juice of life. The lady then laboured that bundle of love joy her whole life. Together the community raised that dear child's destined life. Together they hoped their fruit of labour would ripen right. So here comes yet another bite at life, yet another life in the fight. Mind your backs, please. Here comes you, and here you are. You are a whole new, different son of Marmite life, a whole new dichotomy for us to stand and sit beside, building a whole new world of mystique, love, and yet more strife. You are a new work of art for God to impart his superior delight. You may be one of 7 billion hapless clones, a near enough copy of seeming endless drones, but you are tagged with the mark of human love. God gave you a place in this world of human stuff. Is it time for you to shine above the regular fluff? Some people can be quite nice, others just nasty vice. Our chosen lifestyle comes at life's Marmite price. Total good like total evil can never be completed because we all have at least a weighty ounce of love and treason to cheat us out of life's dreams' reasons. Nobody's ever totally 100% anything. Jesus saving love versus scum antichrist, with human frailties we're stuck in a Marmite fight, sliding up and down betwixt good and sad heroes. On that sinning scale, how far up are we from zero? As we follow and respond to our chosen hero, the case is made, our influence has been whose? Could it be a high demon to make you his fool, where lying selfish goals requires corruption, and where folks take Marmite lines as a wheeze to appease, narrow self-righteous lies for humanity to freeze? Or we can reject evil with a consistent positive reason, and cling to a happy life, raising love's flag as treason to evil. So Marmite's pun of fun continues our concerns in dichotomy. As life choices are made, we walk the walk and talk the talk. One more. This is my autumn poem. It's now autumn, so this is my poem for autumn. Yeah. The autumn of life. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to me. What I want from your birthday is another birthday to see. But we don't always get what we want, nor what that may be. Welcome this autumn is nature's repeat feat. What I want from this autumn is to see it to repeat. But we don't always get what we want, nor what that may be. So always time on to meet God head on and he to be free. Therein with thoughts of man's little hearts are that his houses will somehow continue forever. What we build will stand 1,000 years until it doesn't, because we will live 1,000 years, but we won't. Ah, forgot. Nature's wave motion, it really does pulsate, generating new life at its own great rate. Cycles of life, well learned in our time. Those trials of experience, our history of rhyme. In the bright shine of the summer sunshine, living this time of history, being useful to life. Remember the days of ambition, once a dog in the fight. Proud victories with hollow vanities humble the mighty. Those moving moments we keep in our dear souls, them tales of tears and fears we recite in our dream role. Am I discontent at the trash, drivel and strife, or am I content to enjoy the moments I thrived? Still the hot sun, still the green leaves, but they're all now going as a busy time to leave. Off to hide from me their glory and power, to light up the world on the other side and there to flower. A long life, my life, it's 70. In my retirement, this autumn comes as a trend. The time could soon come now, the moment of night, to close this moment in time of our domain right. Cramming for the exams to secure love's salvation, faith is knowing the duty to the deity who taught us. Does it take a good life? Does it take a life score to go godly, to go right, so as to face my soon coming winter of this my life? Let us pass our history to our next generation, teaching to learn to our precious new nation. The wisdom of God's love blended with our love, that is the marital true fit for an eternal attraction. To all those whom I love and care for so much, to all they who love me and care for me as such, when will it be that my life so slip between your care fingers, and be caught in God's arms and a new venture so triggers? I walk in the next room and close the door, can't use your back feet. The death experience moves the eternal, or maybe the big sleep. Garden of Eden, seen as life as it was and should be, or yet again be. Thus is the right side of acceptance and forgiveness in loving He. Well, what shall be my report back to my big maker? What have I done with my life? Am I a truther or faker? Knowledge of truth is the key to a deep thought train. Are those moments in history for me to explain? Question to ask: was I a wise old owl? Or was I just a poor old dumb old plum?
Thanks, Robert. And now Graham Buchan, please.
This is my autumn poem, Sod Autumn. Season of mist and mellow bullshit. Close bosom friend, give me a break. I hate autumn. Autumn can sod off. Gloomy, drizzly weather which can't make up its mind. It even pisses my cat off. And no one knows when the clocks go back. Loading and blessing fruit. Excuse me, I can get apples at Asda all year round. And the cider press, well, I'd rather be in Sydney now that autumn's here, guzzling a crate of Antipodean sparkling, if you don't mind. That yellow the leaves are turning is the yellow of cowardice, a last little call for attention before a limp, wet suicide. I say, get a life, leaves, get tropical. And this Keats bloke, spluttering away in his romantic, he should get a life too. This is a very early poem of mine, Mr. Insomnia. The angel sleeps. Outside, it is so dark the leaves cannot see the trees, but Mr. Insomnia is stalking my brain. He is walking through rooms, turning on lights. He's reading my diary, developing photos, inventing diets. Eventually, I invite Mr. Insomnia. Let's eat. We tiptoe down, a fine, secure place, the quiet kitchen, dark, bread warm, long resting after the doings of the day. And when you open the fridge, the lighting is so theatrical. Mr. Insomnia eats cereal, warm milk, honey. He feels good. He writes speeches. He interrogates ambition. He invents delight. He looks at me quizzically. So, what about the angel sleeps?
Thanks very much, Graham. And now, please welcome Mr. Lantern Carrier.
Reflections in a Kenyan bedroom. Silence whistles like a continuous drone, soft, melodious, healing. One wouldn't necessarily know it's there unless attentive, reflective, listening. The night's traffic splashes like the Iguazu Falls. Amidst all this, stillness whispers sweet melodies in my heart. It is 10 p.m. October 7th in Nairobi, and I am sitting on my bed next to the window. I stare at the translucent light peeping through the white archaic mosquito net with coral trimmings. The rain beating vibrantly against the wind and foliage touches my soul. The ambience is peaceful, soothing, serene. The call to the synagogue of the heart draws me inwards as I turn the lights off and close my eyes peacefully. I drift effortlessly into another virgin dawn. Thank you. Eliud Kipchoge, a man sent by God. Father Sun, Brother Moon, and Sister Star blazed an invisible trail of glory across the sky. Mother Earth danced her pride and luster, stirring the urge of each human heart to greatness. Daddy Heaven rejoiced in the core of his Kenyan children. Kipchoge's piercing will paved the pioneering path to the spirit of man, making the impossible possible. His slogan, each human has no limits, reverberating in the energy of life itself. I watched him run, as elegant and poised as a phoenix, soaring towards infinity. Steps graceful, courage indomitable, he moved like a majestic lion within a cohort of loyal and wavering courtiers, knowing they were about to kiss the unknowable heights of victory. With a warrior's strength, fist punching towards heaven, Kipchoge touched the burning flames of the self-transcending potential of the soul. The 2-hour marathon magic barrier looked defeated, unfurling its petals like a rose, inviting Eliud to breast the tape of the unconquerable as history was made. The digital clock showed 1.59, 40.2 seconds, but the divine empress smiled from the beyond, exalting the glory of God in the heart of man.
Rosemary Norman, please.
This is another October one. If I don't read it now, I can't read it again until next year. October. In the mist, the tower block is without substance, and the hill beyond it lost, where he'll go to work in his trilby and a pale belted Mac, flipping pages in his notepad as he writes up the resplendencies of trees. He has to watch his step on damp pavements, but he sees a leaf so uncoloured, so pearly, he looks up at last, and there's the sky, an unhinged blue. His task is, as always, to report back on the present and on previous reds and golds. The trees assert their shape against the sky and each other with a fierceness unseen in green summer. It adds up to one more October that in his newly rent heart he doubts his powers to tell of. This is moving towards the end of the year. It's called When I Come Back, and it's based around the idea that whenever Jesus was born, it most definitely was not the year zero. Because it doesn't tie in with any of the large-scale world events recorded. So this is called, this imagines coming back and finding things aren't quite how you think you left them. When I came back. When I came back, it was all changed, even my date of birth. It has to do with prophecy, so I understand. But don't ask how it happened, came about, was made to be, contrary to what we know of time as lived and history as record, or memory as remembered. I'll become troubled then, asking aloud whether my date of death can shift, and other people's to before our own births, gone in one single overwhelming readjustment, or put off, with no false account of the causes and effects of resurrection, but our undoings undone.
Almost an early Christmas poem. Okay, moving on. Anne Vaughan-Williams, please.
Going back in time. 16. Last night I lay awake remembering how at 16 years of age I too crossed my legs, turned my foot round and round at the ankle, just as you do now, meeting us for the first time, granddaughter of my friend who died. You are smiling and together, don't glare or sulk. And what was I doing at 16 years? Forgetting my hockey boots or the stick or the long socks, panting up last to the bus because I had overslept, lying awake in the night, my brain churning over and over, in 17th century torments, and how to answer the question about the causes of the Civil War. On those nights I lay awake, feeling the emptiness of the house, the way people stayed in separate rooms, no one talking, the radio droning. One night there was a sudden flash, the whole sky lit up, silently, and I wondered if it was Berlin, whether there was a nuclear bomb going off. Images of Hiroshima hit me. The mushroom cloud, blackened limbs, a whiteout and nowhere to hide. How could war be prevented? My head was full of dreams of world peace, the United Nations, solving the ending of all wars. People must talk with one another. These are the things that filled my head as a 16-year-old, twiddling my ankles. And I think about how you face an unknown future, whereas I have it all behind me, with the comforting prospect of passing on, sooner rather than later, I hope, Sorry, I can't get my page. Now I constantly forget things. Now I am incapable of chasing a ball up the pitch. It doesn't matter if I've forgotten my socks. It's the young who must get angry, kick out from the twiddled ankles, shout, proclaim in protest, glue themselves to buildings, march in thousands, reverse climate change.
Very timely poem, man. Max Fischel, please.
Thank you. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Yeah, my mum was a refugee, so thank you, Patric, for reminding us about all that. This may or may not be a proper sonnet. I've had a go. I suppose it's about something that might happen to anyone. It's called Incomprehensible. Take the train. It's easier than the car. The rattle of the lines will ease your mind. The landscape paints itself like a Renoir. Your soul will fly completely unconfined. A station with an unfamiliar name slides into view. Cold brick and peeling paint is what you see. But in your heart, a feeling starts that makes you feel quite faint. Bang! The windows shatter. Cries and yells, a foul stench rises from the seats around. The train becomes a scene from Dante's hell. Bits of bodies landing all around. But you are spared. The horseman shimmers by. Outside, the wailing splits the haunted sky. Thank you. And this other one is about this strange idea that I've never quite understood, which is that us Jews are continually involved in this worldwide conspiracy to take over the entire planet. Well, I'll tell you this much. In all my years, I've never had one invitation to a world domination meeting. Is it something I said? All right, so this is called Replacement Theory. Even though I'm not the master race, I will soon be taking your place, for I am part of the Jewish conspiracy to replace you, you see. Oh, sorry. Did you not realise? Has it come as a surprise? Hey, trust me, I'm circumcised. Those good old boys are marching in Kentucky shouting, Jews will not replace us. Ha, I should be so lucky. And over the border in Arkansas, they're glued to their screens watching InfoWars, preparing for the great replacement, got their M16 stashed in the basement for when the Jews come over the hill, shrugging their shoulders as doubtless they will. They'll be sitting ducks, the schmucks, easy to kill. But hang on a second. Would you mind if I replaced you some other time? Because the thing is, look, I'm really busy. There's the bedroom to paint, then I'm meeting Izzy for a drink. Next I need to fix the sink because the fucking thing is leaking. I'm not seeking an excuse. You'd see right through it, that's no use. All I'm saying is that after due consideration, I just haven't got the time for world domination.
Max is too busy writing brilliant poems. Okay, our last poet, open mic poet in the first half, is also going to be one of our featured poets on the 28th of November. That's going to be a really good show. We've got Jenny Mitchell along as well with her new debut volume. You should have information about that. They'll pick up a leaflet on the chairs. So please give a big welcome to Aidan Nutbrown.
Afternoon, everybody. It's Halloween today, so this is a chthonic trip to the dark side. It's called Black Rock River Rolling Wall Visions. Pseudo-sequin circle of light, single floating star traversing my eye space, but so too a ghost image now floats across my darkened room, a pale vision breaking as monochromatic mandalas superimposed over white wardrobe doors. No Narnia this. A black river flows to a wall of black rock, and looming over me, 1,000 feet high, as I lay forcibly still, a dark lord, the angel of death, Kali, Moloch, Satan, Vader, all rolled into one. I thought there would be silence here when the end came, but there is a building rushing sound. Rushing, rushing. Is this the sound of entering hyperspace? Rushing, rushing. My body lies over there, on the floor, still. I watch over it, viewpoint, high wardrobe, ceiling corner, and then jolt, high-speed vertical rush upwards, telestic, noetic, speed rush, high out into the night sky. I see the city vast, sparkling network of embodied souls dreaming, asleep, asleep. Uncertain memories flash by as visual shamanic totems. Who chooses them? Who chooses what images I see? No apparent connection between one and the next. And then I drop, a sudden swift return into still silence, and the black rock river rolling wall, the rushing noise gone, the wall of rock crumbles, stillness. I lie on the floor of this room, carpet eyelashes, lymphatic strands form into long grass. Green-hued swathes, waves sweep from the distance. The walls have gone. All around are wide open, vast prairie lands. Is this the future or the past? It feels like both. But I hear no prairie dogs, just geese and ducks. These ducks, cartoon ducks, quack in English. Blink hard, blink fast. This is Regent's Park now. Flat on my back on the green grass bank by the boating lake. The sun shimmers high over the water blue and floods this frame with white light haze rings. The light bursts into pseudo-sequin circles of light that ripple like radiating waves over water. I see how everything is formed of these sequins, secret mandalas. Shimmer in the waves, they fade into dark hues, they fade into blurry drops, dark paint, oil spill, blacker ink, oil, skin, watercolour, walls walled in, the walls of this room returned, and with them the black rock river rolling wall, constant crumbling, decay, peeling dead flesh, and slowly the black rock river wall recedes, and slowly the dark lord leaves, for now.
Thank you, Aidan. A lovely taster from next month's show. And after our featured acts are going to come on to do their first sets in a minute, we'll take an interval of about 20 minutes at 4 o'clock. So.